Hey guys, thought I'd do another video about 3 more misconceptions that you might have if you're coming to Japan, or if you're just thinking about Japan and the way that Japanese people tend to live. I'll jump right into it. I think the first one, another one, right, that seems to be very popular among foreigners, another idea is the idea that Japanese people eat sushi every day, right? Like that Japanese people, all they consume, all they eat, all they want to do is get sushi and put it in their mouths and eat it every single day, 3 times a day. That's all they eat. Japanese people love fish. And while that's certainly true that Japanese people do like sushi and Japanese people do eat a lot of fish, I mean, you can just look at any sort of record of how much fish they catch every year and what the #1 staple of meat is in their diet, and go to a grocery store and see what they sell. Japanese food is actually a lot more varied than you might expect. So, as a teacher here at Nova, as a teacher here in Japan, I do a lot of lessons that are about frequency, how much to do this or that or this or that. And while this is all anecdotal evidence, right, my students, right, when I ask how many times do you eat sushi, they might say, usually they'll say once or twice a month, right? And that's usually going to a place where you can get cheap sushi, $1, per sushi that comes out. And this is the typical sushi that's on rice with a little bit of fish on top. It's not your California rolls that you're used to seeing in America. And I think, interestingly, in America and maybe in other parts of the Western world, when we think of sushi, we think that that's probably the main food that Japanese people eat, and by far that's probably what we eat the most, and that what we know as Japanese food. If you think Japanese, you're thinking sushi. You're not thinking Japanese curry, you're not thinking okonomiyaki, you're not thinking anything that's fried like kushikatsu or karage or any of those sort of things. You're just thinking of sushi, and not even the kind of sushi that Japanese people eat, right? And so there's a big difference there, and when you come to Japan, you'll notice that there's a lot of different kinds of restaurants with a lot of different styles, and you can try a whole bunch of things that maybe you didn't know even existed at all. So getting to the second thing, a lot of people, especially my friends, right, who have talked about wanting to come to Japan, or other people I've seen on the internet saying, hey, I don't know Japanese, I don't know how to get around Japan, it makes me nervous, I want to go, I want to see, I want to go see this country, I want to experience it, but I don't exactly know any Japanese or how to read Japanese, and so I'm intimidated and I can't go because I don't speak the language. And while that's, it does make it more difficult when you're not fluent in the language, or when you can't even speak the language even a little bit. If you're coming to a place like Tokyo or Kyoto or Osaka, where most tourists come, right, where most of the attractions are, in most situations and in most places, if you're looking to ride the train, there's some sort of English train bulletin board where you can look at the stations just like how a Japanese person would in Japanese, but it's all in English. Japanese people, there are not too many people are what I would say extremely fluent in in English, but most people learn English at a basic level in their schools, when they're in elementary school, through high school, and some when they're in college. So people have a very basic understanding of English at the very least. So if you go up to them and you have this kind of basic conversation where you say, hey, look at my ticket, right? Let's pretend I have a ticket. This is not a train ticket, but this is a plane ticket. And so pretend it's a train ticket. You go, sumimasen, and you just point at your ticket. Japanese person will look at it, and then they'll probably figure out that you want to go somewhere, and they'll tell you where to go, either by pointing or by just taking you there. A lot of Japanese people are very nice, and a lot of people are very friendly. Particularly if you ask people who are younger, they might come out of their shell and they might actually help you out a little bit more. And chances are, if you talk to a younger person, they've learned English much more recently, and so they'll have a better understanding of it. If you talk to someone who's very old, maybe if they come to classes like what I teach, they'll be able to have a conversation with you in English, but more than likely they haven't used English in 30 or 40 years, and so it's kind of down. So if you're looking to talk to people in Japan and look for directions or look for help, maybe approach younger people. But that being said, even still, just the level of English in Japan, getting around is not too bad. And again, if you're in one of these big parts of the city, if you're in a big city like Tokyo or Osaka or even my hometown like Kobe, most restaurants will have kind of like an English menu that you can order off of, or at the very least, if you just want to point to the foods you want, because everything has pictures in Japan, you won't have an issue. Just say, point to this and put your finger up and say 1.1, and people will be able to put together what you mean. It's not so scary, and as soon as you come in, you start trying those things out, you see that everyone is very used to catering to foreigners who don't speak the language. So don't be scared, don't be worried. Come to Japan, it'll be a great experience, and you don't have to be scared of it. Okay, and the next big misconception I think people have about Japan is that if you're gonna come to Japan, there's a whole world of social etiquette that you're gonna just break, and you're gonna make everybody uncomfortable, and Japanese people will hate you, and you won't be allowed in restaurants, and people will see you on the street and they'll laugh at you because you don't understand Japanese etiquette. It's so foreign, it's so difficult to understand. The concepts don't really make any sense to us. And the truth is that for us, as people who are coming to Japan, as foreigners, as tourists, those kind of things are quite often overlooked. Japanese people know that the way that they interact, the way that their culture is, the way that they have rules of etiquette don't necessarily reflect or are in other countries. And so when you come from America, they will expect you to not know how to use chopsticks. They will expect you to not know the proper way to say thank you and goodbye. They'll expect you to walk on the wrong side of the street, or to walk in the wrong way in a building, or to do something like that. And it's just, you know, they will expect it of you. So there's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to be concerned of. You know, come in, be nice, be polite in the best way that you can. If you make a mistake, say you're sorry in Japanese, or even I'm sorry in English. And don't be worried about all the small details. You'll pick them up if you're coming here to learn for a long time. You can do some research beforehand, and you are not going to offend Japanese people if you make a small mistake here or there. It's not that critical. You're not going to push anyone's buttons that bad, and you are certainly not going to get kicked out of Japan or made fun of because you don't know how to use chopsticks, or you're talking on the phone on the train when you're not supposed to, or something like that. They are very understanding, and they'll put up with you, and you'll learn through your experiences. So don't be scared. And anyway, guys, that's 3 more misconceptions that I think people have about Japan. Let me know if there's any more misconceptions that you might have about Japan, or things that you think, hey, is this a cool thing in Japan? Is this a, you know, can I do this? Is this allowed? I'll try to hit you up in the comment section down below. If you guys haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. Maybe hit the like button, and share this around with your friends if you think they might be interested, or you know someone coming to Japan. So guys, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you soon in the next video. Thanks for sticking by and watching all these. Bye bye.